Hello, my name is Jordan Robinson, and I chose to discuss the Third Amendment, which states, "No soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law." And this law, according to Scott D. Gerber, in an unavoidably brief historiography of the Third Amendment, was the Constitution's response to the Quartering Acts adopted by the British during the American Revolution, which had permitted the British Army to house British soldiers in private residences. So this would seem a law that would not, or an amendment that would not be really something that would come into play in the modern day, but some law professors have questioned that. And Gerber quotes Morton J. Horowitz saying, "For the record, many of my colleagues, after learning that I was to speak on the Third Amendment, sheepishly asked me what the Third Amendment is." So this is something that's commonly forgotten, but that has been challenged. The U.S. Supreme Court has actually never decided a case on Third Amendment grounds. So it would seem that it was an obsolete law. It's not too much of an exaggeration to say that more was written about the First Amendment last week than has ever been written about the Third Amendment. And this is still coming from Scott Gerber. And he wanted to provide a historiography with this article. And in his conclusion, he also states, "The Second and Third Amendments, which guarantee respectively an individual's right to keep and bear arms and to be free from government-imposed quartering of troops in his or her home, are designed to secure the natural rights of life and liberty. As such, the Third Amendment, like all but one of the other original amendments to the Constitution, is a reification of the reasons the United States of America is a nation, our origins, purposes, and ideals. The Third Amendment is, in short, more than deserving of this symposium in its honor." E. Duncan Getchell Jr., Matthew D. Fender, and Michael H. Brady wrote an article called "Are the Rights Guaranteed by the Third Amendment Sufficiently Deep-Rooted and Fundamental to be Incorporated into the 14th?" And in their conclusion, they pointed to some cases where the amendment had been called into question. Since the case of Ingblom, the U.S. District Court for the District of Maine has decided in summary fashion that the Third Amendment was not implicated when 3 state law enforcement officers took possession of a plaintiff's house for, quote, fewer than 24 hours. And they had taken control of this man's house because they wanted to watch one of his neighbors, and he had a good vantage point. So they forcibly took his home. The 10th Circuit also held that military aircraft flying over a plaintiff's house was not a violation. So with so little to go on, even if the Third Amendment is ultimately deemed incorporated into the 14th, in this period of highly militarized police, the meaning of the terms quarter and soldier in particular await further explication. In the Tennessee Law Review, Elizabeth Price Foley said that state and local police are becoming increasingly militarized. Providing billions of dollars worth of military equipment to police is encouraging them to adopt increasingly aggressive methods of dealing with ordinary crimes, creating a potentially counterproductive warlike atmosphere. While this is undoubtedly a problem in need of a solution, the Third Amendment, particularly with its use of the word soldier, should not also include police officers, even though it shouldn't be attractive to constitutional originalists. This does not mean that the American people are powerless to stop a trend of police militarization and excessive force. It simply means that the problem is If the problem is going to be addressed, it should be addressed through other constitutional provisions, such as the Fourth Amendment, or normal Republican processes, such as statutory reform. So that's in regards to people trying to incorporate this law. And in the American University Law Review, Alan Butler said that the Third Amendment is commonly forgotten, it is not gone, and the principles that underlie its protection should guide our military decisions impacting property and privacy. The recent focus on cybersecurity in particular would benefit from the Third Amendment insights. Digital devices are modern-day equivalent of, quote, castles, end quote, that deserve the strongest protections from outside intrusion. Thank you very much.